word kin means one's family or relatives. Kinship is the sharing of characteristics or origins, the extension of family. So I believe when it comes to kinship, it all starts with your family and how you're brought up. And given what I've just said, I think kinship is so simple to do. It's the natural extension of being part of a family. So let me begin by saying, I absolutely love and adore my sister. Carrie has been one of the best parts of my life since I was just 3 years old. We always knew Carrie was a little bit different, but just a year and a half ago, she was diagnosed with a rare genetic condition called SYNGAP1. This affects her speech, gross motor skills, and she has a small seizure once in a while. She communicates with sign language, some vocalization, and lots of personality with me and my family. Now, this has made my life interesting, and I mean that in the best way possible. Carrie and I have an amazing relationship. She has one of the most infectious laughs a person can ever hear. And of course, her go-to amusement is trying to annoy me to the point of insanity. But nonetheless, Carrie is my best friend in this world, and she always will be. Now, imagine being locked in a house with your best friend for 3 months straight. This is exactly what happened to me and Carrie at the start of the COVID quarantine. In the beginning, it was cool and mysterious. I mean, we had all this time to just hang out and play. But as the days dragged on and the weather warmed up, we developed some cabin fever. We needed to find a new activity besides eating, sleeping, and driving our parents nuts, which I think a lot of people can relate to. And at the exact same time, I had just gotten my driver's license, and my mom had just bought a new car. So I was shocked when I went to my mom and said, "Hey mom, can I take your car out for a drive, make sure it still works, and make sure I still know how to drive?" I was shocked when she said, "Connor, of course you can, if you take your sister with you." So a compromise was made, and off we went. And now Carrie and I had some great times out driving. We'd have the windows down and the music cranked, and just in case my parents are watching this, we absolutely were going the speed limit at all times. And now no other car in Andover could cycle through Drake, The Wiggles, Maroon 5, or Sesame Street as well as we could. And even though we had some great times driving, the inevitable crept in. We started to get a little sick and tired of each other's personalities. It had been quite a long few months. And now, so what I did to combat that was I began picking up one of my best friends who also goes to St. John's with me. He'd sit in the front, and Carrie would rock out in the back like usual. But my friend didn't really know what to do with Carrie. Was he supposed to talk to her, ignore her, just sit there? The dilemma I saw him go through was absolutely no surprise. Unless someone has a real deep personal connection with someone with special needs, they just don't get it, and that's totally okay. But what would happen next would shock me and move me still today. Carrie, once she became comfortable with our new passenger, did her usual. She'd give me a jab in the ribs or a tug on the ear, which probably was not the safest thing to do while I was driving, but if you don't tell my parents, I think we'll be okay. And when she did this, she fell into her famous belly laugh. And my friend had a look of shock and amazement when she did this. He, like everybody, fell in love with Carrie's laugh. And what would happen next was my friend began watching and observing what made Carrie laugh the most and mimicked it. He just made her laugh all the time. And then eventually, I was sitting in the front of the car all by myself. My friend moved to the back to sit with Carrie so they could interact easier. I mean, what 17-year-old who's got a tough guy attitude with the rest of my friends, all of a sudden best buddies with a 14-year-old girl, not to mention a girl who didn't speak and who was probably watching Disney princess movies in the back of the car most of the time? I was genuinely moved, to say the least. Now, what I witnessed develop between Carrie and my friend was absolutely natural kinship. It was not contrived or forced. My friend wasn't with Carrie out of charity or service. No, they genuinely enjoyed spending time with each other. And see, I think that's what kinship is all about. It is 100% a natural human condition. Humans crave kinship. We need kinship. Kinship is fostered through the ordinary and the unspectacular. Now, I often think that kinship is confused with service. However, you don't need to start a school supplies drive or a soup kitchen in order to find kinship with somebody. Now, all those things are amazing, and I have the utmost respect for people who work to create them. But like I said in the beginning, I just don't think kinship needs to be all that complicated. It doesn't require that much effort or sacrifice. All you need to do is find a common interest with somebody. Now look, I think everybody wants to change the world. I certainly want to. But something I like to say is, how can you do the big things without doing the small ones? So let me ask you, how can you change the world without changing somebody's life first? Now this sounds really corny of me to say, but my life was absolutely changed by the unknowing actions of my friend and Carrie. They proved to me that anybody can find kinship with anyone, no matter your ability, your age, your gender, your race, your nationality, your sexual orientation, anything. Anybody can find kinship if you have a common interest, and everybody has a common interest. So now, I want to challenge all of you who are watching. The minute this ends, I want you to reflect. Think of somebody you know of, or somebody you don't know at all, and go seek them out. Go talk to them. Go find a common interest. I promise you, kinship is bound to happen, and you're going to change somebody's life. Thank you very much.